Hello, welcome to Math with Mr. Dobrescu to the rescue. Let's look at this equation today. This is a complex equation, and if you take a look at this equation, we see that we have variables on this side of the equation and we have variable on that side of the equation. But we also have parentheses. So remember, every time we have parentheses, we are using the distributive property. So let's use the distributive property because we have parentheses. And now we are going to distribute negative 2 over x and negative 2 over negative 5. Remember, we have a multiplication there between negative 2 and the parenthesis. The same here, we have a multiplication. And then we are going to distribute 6 over 2 and 6 to negative 1 over 2x. And let's see what we get. Remember, anytime we have parentheses in an equation, we are going to use the distributive property first. Okay? So let's multiply here. We have negative 2 times x becomes negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 5, remember negative times a negative becomes a positive. 2 times 5, 10. Now we have the equal sign. Okay? Remember I told you, you can draw a line down from the equal sign. And then let's multiply here. We have 6 times 2 becomes 12. And 6 times negative 1/2. Let's keep it there for now. Positive times a negative becomes a negative. And let's keep that 6 for now. 1 over 2. 6 times 1 over 2. And don't forget the x. I'm leaving it there as a visual because now we are going to simplify 6 times 1 over 2. And remember, we can always put a 1 after the 6. And now we see that 6 and 2 simplifies out, right? So if we divide 6 by 2, we get a 3 on the top because 3 times 2 becomes 6. Let's rewrite the entire equation. Let's keep the first portion the same thing. Negative 2x plus 10 equals 12 minus, and now we don't have the 6 anymore, we have the 3. 3 times 1 becomes 3, and don't forget the x, minus 3x. And now we see that the equation is a lot simpler. If you look at the top here, the equation seems a little bit more complicated, but now the equation it's a lot simpler. However, we still have variables on this side of the equation and we have variables on the other side of the equation. So remember, our goal is to bring the variables to either the right or the left. But in this case, it's better if we add the 3x on both sides so we can keep the variable to this side of the equation and positive. Okay? So let's add 3x on both sides because our goal is to get the x's to this side of the equation and positive. If we take a look here, negative 3x and positive 3x cancels out. No more variables on this side of the equation. And all the variables moved to this side of the equation. 3x combined with negative 2x becomes just 1x, or just x plus 10 equals 12. As you see, the equation is becoming smaller and smaller, and now we are almost ready to solve for that variable and get it by itself. And you all know that at this time we have to subtract 10 on both sides. We need to move the 10 on the other side, right? So we got to subtract 10 on both sides of the equation. 10 and negative 10 cancel out, and we are left over with x equals 12, take away 10, 2. X equals 2. Not that bad, okay? The equation seems a lot more complicated in the beginning, but after we use the distributive property, we distributed negative 2 over x and negative 5 and 6 over 2 and negative 1/2 x. We did not have any more parentheses. Then we brought all the variables to this side of the equation, and then we just had one step equation, subtracted 10 on both sides, and we got the answer. But let's check to find out if that's our answer. So remember, when we check, we are going to plug in these two into the original equation. But I would plug it in to be a little bit easier for us. We can plug it in right here after we got rid of the parentheses. And we can plug it right here. Okay, let's plug it right here. 1x, this x over here, and the 2 for this x over here. And let's see if we get a true statement. Okay, so we check from here, right? We have negative 2 times, instead of x, we can put 2, plus 10 should equal 12 minus 3 times 2, because x, remember, we found to be 2. And let's see if we get a true statement. Negative 2 times 2 becomes negative 4, plus 10 equals 12. Negative 3 times 2 is 6. And of course, negative 4 plus 10 is actually positive 6. And here we have 12 minus 6 is 6. And we get a true statement. Okay? True statement. And remember, with a true statement, the true statement is telling us that x, in fact, x equals 2 is the solution to our equation. Please review this equation several times. And again, don't get scared if you see parentheses and a fraction. Do it step by step. And remember, keep this multiplication for now so you can see that 6 and 2 simplifies out to just negative 3x. Okay? And then we bring all the variables to this side of the equation and subtract 10 on both sides and get the answer. Thank you all so much for watching. Really appreciate your likes and subscriptions. And please share this video and stay tuned for our next video. All the best to you.